definitely so.
I could always count on Teresa. All right, let me turn this thing off. I don't know if I do. I apologize. Solid. All right. All right, so our first order of business tonight before we go into the monthly town council meeting is the public hearing on ordinance 19-3 amending the North Beach Town Code. This really is just paperwork cleanup. It has nothing to do with any particular project. It's something that we need to get cleaned up in our ordinance. So tonight is about discussion. Anybody has any questions? Council has any questions? We have Rick that can answer some. We have our attorney. We have our public works. And then we will close our public hearing and go into our council meeting, and then we will be bringing this back up in November to vote on as a council. So tonight is about discussion for clarity of what this is. I think that's what we need. So let's go ahead and pass it around. Anybody have any questions or anything they'd like to add? And maybe let's do this. I'm going to start off with Alyssa. If you could go into a little detail explaining in a second.
Yeah, so as I indicated, I think in the last meeting, this is an ordinance that is simply enabling the town to enter into development rights and responsibilities agreements. The state statute that provides for these requires you to have an ordinance in place before you do that. There are certain places in your existing zoning ordinance, which Rick can speak to, where it refers to these agreements. You have not yet done one, but you may need to do one at some point in the future. And so this is, it tracks the language and requirements of the land use article, the state code, and it will enable you to enter into those agreements.
Rick, what do you have to pass on to council?
I think some of the misconceptions, a lot of people think this is something new that's coming up, and the zoning was actually rewritten and passed several years ago. This was part of that rezoning that has already been voted on, already been approved. Basically, like I said, this is just a cleanup. This is just a legal part of it that never got done. I think part of the reason some of this things happened was so many people here probably when we went, and an attorney that passed away that worked for the town for well over 20 years, and then his law firm kind of disbanded shortly after that, so the next attorney kind of left, and this is just kind of something that just got left by the wayside and was never actually read. The ordinance was never actually read in. This isn't something new that's coming about. It was already put into our zoning ordinance. This part of it was just never completed.
Council, you have any questions? You've had it. It's been on board docs since Monday. Also for the public, on each end of the dais, also as you came in, you could log in, write that stuff, take a picture with your phone, and you can see the documentation. You can follow along. It goes live usually about Monday or Tuesday before our Thursday meeting. So all of our docs that we see, you will see. All you have to do is log in and download, do whatever you want to do with them. Any council conversation? Any questions? Any questions of the audience? Yes, sir.
I don't have a question, I have a comment. Good evening, everybody. I'm Peter Davis. I've had the pleasure of living at 4110 First Street for a while and hope to continue to do that mission. When I first saw this at the first public hearing, I thought it was a good thing. I still think it's a good thing. But a couple legal principles came to mind, and this is familiar with me. One is the square corner rule, and the other one is a stop. And the last one, in my reading about those two principles, designated authority popped up. The square corner is a principle that goes back to the early 1920s, maybe earlier than that. And it basically says that when dealing with the municipality, you must expect to turn square corners. That the municipality is always right, and the person dealing with the municipality is always wrong. And I think that the document, and I applaud the document, because the document in multiple sections says just that the municipality can change, can make changes, and it alerts the contracting party to that effect, and they can't complain. And that's dovetails into the principle of estoppel, where just because somebody has dealt with someone that doesn't have authority, doesn't mean that the town is bound by that person's permission or comments or statements. So what pops up on this is, and this is for you, I think the ordinance should specifically say who has the authority to make changes, who has the authority to grant permissions, who has the authority to allow deviations from what's in the contract. In my readings, Google was a lifesaver for me. It's usually a contracting officer, and they designate in the ordinance itself who the contracting officer is. And note, the contracting officer can't designate or delegate that authority to anybody else. The next thing about the ordinance that I saw was that it cannot benefit, or there cannot be a third-party beneficiary. But it doesn't say anything about assignment. And I suspect, in the eyes of someone maybe one and the same, but I would have something in the ordinance that the contracts or the agreements between the contractor and the town can't be assigned, period. Unless you wanted to, and that would require the permission of both the town and the contracting. So I saw it.
Thank you so much. Obviously, that's the reason why we have Alyssa to handle those questions and so forth. So we'll definitely take that into consideration as we do. If you want to, yeah.
So, with due respect, I have to say that I disagree with your statement of the principles of the governing law. You have raised some valid concerns about the content of the agreement, but they ought not be addressed in the ordinance. First of all, the assignment question isn't, I think, really as, it's not really as on point as you may think, because in fact, the agreements are going to run with the property, so they will be assignable because the property could be sold, and the agreements will bind to the property and bind whomever else acquires the property. I also think you're sort of backwards on what the ordinance is anticipated to do, because in fact it is intended to lock down for the developer the conditions under which he will be permitted, he or she will be permitted to develop the property, and that is what the benefit is to the developer. It's a quid pro quo essentially, because the town gets certain enhanced benefits in general, and the developer gets certainty that he or she might not have absent the agreement. So it is in fact intended to do the opposite of what you are surmising, which is for on the developer's part to say that the town won't change the underlying zoning requirements during the pendency of that agreement. So, and because it is a contract, it can't be amended by any action other than an action by the contracting party, which would be the council here. And so you don't need to put in the ordinance if that's the case. That's just the way the law operates. So you think the ordinance as drafted is both necessary and sufficient? And I'll have to say.
the legal ease has, between these two, both attorneys, so we will continue to move forward with it, look into it. We're going to bring it back up next month, something that should have been done a while ago. So the good news is we are moving forward with it. But I appreciate it, and I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. Let's move right into the opening of our town council meeting. Call to order and a pledge of allegiance. And we usually call somebody, and I'd like to see if Corporal Fox was mine, or did he leave? Did he leave? All right, you already left. Well, guess what? T, you can please lead us off in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll get them next month. Lieutenant Alton, no, I tried. All right, roll call.
Mayor Ben,
Here.
Mr. Dodson,
Here.
Ms. Hagan, here, Mr. Humble,
Here.
Ms. Lawson, here, Ms. Shiata, Mr. Troncone,
Here.
Ms. Levon, here, Ms. Hunt, here, Ms. Nyworth, Mr. Bowen, here, Mr. Crump,
He's here, he's outside. He's right there.
Ms. Garrett, here, Ms. Owens, and,
She's here.
and Deputy Phelps.
Fantastic, thank you so much. All right, let's move into C, motion to approve the agenda as presented. So moved, I have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All right, a motion to approve the minutes of September 12th, 2019 Town Council meeting as presented. So moved, I have a second. Any discussion? All in favor? So moved. Let's go right to our scheduled appointments. Grace Mary.
Good evening, town council and visitors. Every day when I get up and look on Facebook, people constantly post our gorgeous waterfront and pier. So I've never seen so many beautiful pier pictures as I have lately. So I thought tonight that we'd take a trip down memory lane and see how our pier has evolved over time. Here at North Beach, for more than 100 years, it has survived numerous hurricanes and constantly gets reinvented. 1904, this was color enhanced. This was Captain Oscar Marshall's crab house that was on the end of the pier. 1904, here's a close-up of the crab house that was on the end of the pier. And for those of you who are down on the waterfront all the time, look at the difference in the shoreline and the beach. 1908, there were so many people that wanted to eat crabs at the pier that Oscar Marshall and his family not only had a crab house at the end of the pier, but they built one on the other end of the pier right on the sand. 1916, I kept this postcard because it's talking about you'd never be able to build a golf course here. And recently, this summer, in scanning all of the documents that I have from 1900 to 1930, there was actually a proposal to build a golf course in North Beach. Who knew? I didn't know that myself. So I thought that was pretty interesting. 1928, they added the dance hall and the bathhouse. This is where our Welcome Center is today. 1933, gone, Oscar Marshall's crab house. And it's hard to see in this picture, but the bathhouse was severely damaged. You can see the difference in the shade where they went to replace some of the rooftop, but 18 people died in that hurricane. There's our seafood restaurant. That's one some people would recognize if they had been here in the 70s. Postcard about Uncle Billy's, advertising Uncle Billy's. And it says, hello honey, having a swell time, wish you were here, no girls. I'm all alone with Elvis. So I thought that was kind of fun. Ice at the end of our pier.
Wow.
When I grew up here, really the bay did used to freeze over in the 60s and the 70s. And my brothers and I would put on our ice skates and skate out to the duck line and back. Bathing at North Beach, not compared to today when we have one of those 95-degree days and you can't even find a spot on the beach for an umbrella, but people have always loved our waterfront. Here's another postcard. They're taking it easy and don't have too many late night dates. So some of the things that were said in the postcards just make it fun. There's the 1948 bathhouse, and look at our seawall.
Wow.
Okay. On this corner, this is approximately 2nd Street, right to the left of that screen. Aerial of Uncle Billy's. On the left is Uncle Billy's. On the right is Joe Rose's, all of his properties, casinos, and waterfront. Modern Amusement Center. So there's your seafood restaurant again, and look at all the people out there swimming and enjoying their day at the beach and the waterfront. Sunglasses, beach chairs, umbrellas, and comic books. There's another one of our Uncle Billy's that would later become a hamburger stand, that would later become the Oasis. That saw a lot of uses in that same spot. Bathhouse and movie theater, it's off to the corner, but it's still there in 1950. 1969, the Reef Restaurant at the end of the pier. 1976, the bathhouse was still here. Now that would have been to the right of Mrs. Rupert's house. And 2012, our fishing pier and beach, and this is when we don't have anything on the end of our pier, and our welcome center. So with that, I'm going to end it because every day, well, I stay under 5 minutes, so how did I do, boss?
Fantastic.
Okay. And one quick announcement. Next Sunday, Don Schumatt, noted author, in researching for book number 18, he found some very interesting local information. So the time period is 1861 to 1865, which was our Civil War. And guess what happened right in our little neighboring town of Fairhaven, which is so quiet, they said nothing ever happened there. Well, a Civil War soldier dressed up as a woman got on the steamboat and stole the steamboat. So the talk next Sunday is about the stolen steamboat and the trip that it took at the end of the Civil War. It's going to be here. All of our talks are here at the town hall. No, not this Sunday, the 20th. The 20th. They're always here and they're always 2 to 3. So they go 45 minutes and then he allows 15 minutes for question and answering. And if you don't have any questions, I'm finished.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
If you haven't been to the museum, you need to. I tell everybody, everywhere we go, to all the municipalities, that I feel we have the best museum in the state of Maryland. Get a chance to go by there. It's amazing the heart and soul that Grace Mary has put into that museum, and her staff, and I mean, just, it's amazing. So please do. All right. Let's move into public safety report. Phelps is going to do that since
Boss ran out.
he ran out. You still not ranking, right?
Yeah, I guess. Good evening. For the month of September, we had 161 calls for service. It's down from 173. 65 are self-initiated, 96 were calls by the unions. Had one CS violation for marijuana of 10 grams or more, 2 thefts, flags stolen from Neptune by none other than Freddie. And that was closed by arrest, and a bike stolen from Fast Stop. One employee left his bike out back and it disappeared. Destruction of property, the drywall back in the wetlands over part. A violation of protective order, 2 assault arrests, 5 trespassing arrests, which were all Freddie. And 2 marijuana civil violations. Freddie's a one-man crime spree.
Slowing down.
Well, look, we do have some improvements coming up with this gentleman, and I won't say his name, but you've heard his name. He does have a case coming up, and we've already Lieutenant Dalton and the Sheriff's Department has talked to the state's attorney. There will not be a bond that will be revoked. He will not be able to get out. So he'll be at the Barstow Hilton for at least 90 days, and they'll just keep doing it and doing it. So I apologize. We are on top of it. Our attorneys, our Sheriff's Department, we're doing what we can. It's laughable to the point where it's sad, and we apologize, but we are doing what we can as a town to take care of this gentleman. He needs help. He needs to find a new home. So we're working on it. We're closer today than ever, but just bear patience with us. We've got to go through the court system. I mean, we can only do but so much. So I appreciate that. Any questions for?
We've been talking to the judge, Michelle Saunders, who's the district court judge, and trying to work with her. He needs help, is what it boils down to, and maybe we can try to get that but if businesses are tired of him, I think, he's not really bothered as a citizen, but it's the businesses he harassing.
He's going after a few people in the boardwalk winning.
Yeah, he's going to be taken care of. We just have to go through the court system, and it's frustrating. And also, the state's attorney is well aware of it. Andrew's been involved, had a conversation. I mean, we've gone as high as we can go. We will get this resolved. We promise. And again, we apologize that we're still having this conversation, but there's only so much we can do. But we are on top of it, I promise you. Thank you so much.
Anything else?
If you get a chance in the next couple of weeks, could you get somebody up to Greenwood in San Francisco, and so they just do observance?
In the morning, right?
In the morning around bus time.
Bus time.
We're having some issues.
Do that. Anything else?
I do want to pass on to everyone that I've been in communication over the last couple of weeks, really the last couple of months, with the Boys and Girls Club. The 3 schools, we have 2 schools, Windy Hill and Windy Elementary. My son goes to Windy Elementary, Elementary.
Windy Hill Elementary.
Thank you. Those 2 in Beach Elementary. Sadly, I went to Beach Elementary, it's still there. Boys and Girls Club, and also the Sheriff's Department. We're going to start a program to not allow bullying in our town, at our parks, and our neighborhoods along the waterfront. We're going to bring an educational process to it. We're going to allow the Boys and Girls Club and the Sheriff's Department to lead the way, because they're the experts, and I'm in communication with them on a weekly basis. But months ago, we started this conversation and trying to get all the partners at the table. We will get it there, but North Beach is not a place that we will ever accept or warrant any bullying in our parks or in our town. We have a lot of kids that get dropped off here from around the county, if you haven't noticed that. We want to make sure that all kids feel safe, all parents feel safe at our parks and our neighborhoods. Nothing has gone wrong, it's just a couple of kids doing dumb things. So we're going to address it now and let people know. So stay tuned. We're going to have some events here, down at the park, Boys and Girls Club, speakers come in, promote it. We're really going to take this serious. So just stay tuned. It's coming, one of many things. So I appreciate your time. All right, Joanne.
Okay. Treasurer's report for August 1st through August 31st. Beginning balance was $492,000. There were $319,000 in debits and $260,000 in credits. Ending balance was $551,000. Investments in MLGIP was $2,853,000. MLGIP sewer was $88,000, and MLGIP water was $43,000. Total cash available to the town for this period was $3,537,000. Last year for the same period was $3,241,000. Hotel tax revenue collected during this period was $1,800, and there were 0 state business license.
Thank you so much. Any questions? Thank you so much. DB, Public Works, Donnie Gone.
I'd like to update council on the water meter project. A pretty good chunk of money that the town put out to update all the town's meters to radio style reading meter. We had several meters that we put in the 90s. A lot of them weren't working correctly, some of them weren't reading at all. But we worked with the contractor over the last 4 or 5 weeks, and we replaced all the 3/4 inch meters. Are all done now. They're all switched over to radio read style meters. We have approximately 68 meters left in Bonos, which were 1 inch meters. They weren't the standard size, so we had to order them. They're on the way in. expect to be done with them, and then we'll be completed with that project. October 15th, we have our first full read of these, to see how the system actually, to make sure it's gonna work, and then, we should go where we should. And that allows us to accurately read each meter. We can read them from in 2 hours, or it took 2 days. They will be good, to keep track of water usage, we come with the bill, for the gallon wise for your water bills. So that's how we build, for what you use, that's all part of that. So project went smooth, didn't have any early complaints from the citizens. Couple meters were tough to change, but overall, the project went pretty well, pretty smooth.
Fantastic, thank you. Any questions for
Anything else?
Don? All right, thank you so much. Paul is not here tonight, Town Engineer Code. Rick?
Other than what you have in the report, mainly what I've been working on is the software upgrades that you guys approved during that last budget. So with 3 different software upgrades, it's been a little bit on the tedious side. The goal is to have them all up and running by January 1st. I should have a rough demo of one of the projects actually by the beginning of next week to start working on. So
I'm excited about it. One reason is that you, the residents, will be able to download this app on your phone. If you see something, you can say something. If you come across something in the neighborhood, you're out there walking, Teresa, and you see something wrong, you can, boom, you can send it to the correct, it'll go directly to the correct department that you select. It's tracked, it's monitored, and until the thing is closed out, it stays active. And
you'll be able to see it on your phone. So if you download the app and say you see a manhole cover missing, you'll be able to take the picture.
Right.
You'll have a list of this is Public Works, and you'll be able to pick exactly what it is, and it'll go directly to their system. And you'll be able to track what's done with it in your phone.
Yeah.
When it's looked at, when it's read, what it was done to fix it, you'll be able to do that with anything.
we're a walking town. Every time I walk, every day. I haven't seen Fred yet, but I'm looking for Fred tomorrow. But that's right, not the right time of day. So I'm excited. Rick's been working hard on it. It's a lot of effort to get a phone app done, or an app. Even though we're not writing it, we still have to give the information.
And part of that is there'll be an additional website that you'll be able to get to from our town website. So if you don't download it on your phone, you'll be able to do it through the website as well. And it tracks everything. It'll track emails, sent, it tracks everything. So
If you're on your phone and you see something, does it know your location, that kind of stuff?
that is part of it.
Okay.
That I asked you to if you want your location.
Right.
And again, at the end of the day, if you don't want to do either of those, you can still make a phone call and we'll take care of it. This is just another way we're going to provide more service to the residents. That's all.
Between those 3 things and working on this stuff for the parking space,
Cool.
pretty much it.
Any questions for Rick? Nope. All right, thank you so much. Dawn is not here, and development specialist.
Good evening. I don't know if
That's
you guys
Veronica.
can see it on the screen here, but I wanted to give a little update on the Healthy Living Program. Again, this is our second year. Our first year, we had 25,000, and we were able to help 6 families with the 25,000. This year, we got 100,000, and so we were able to help 18 families. The majority of the money went to HVAC, whether it was heating or air conditioning systems. And so a total of 81,000 went to HVAC systems. And then we leveraged some rebates through BG or the utility provider. That was 72,000. So together, we were able to leverage additional monies to bring our total cost to 168,000. To be able to really help the 18 families. So we took our money and then we leveraged it with other money to make it work so that we can help as many families as we possibly can. So now the money is all gone. And we're coming up on renewing it if we get awarded another allotment of money. So I think this year maybe we should go for another 100. If the need is still there and if the council chooses to continue with this program. There's some other highlights I think that the council requested is this year with the 18 people, we were able to serve 10 people in North Beach, 2 in Owens, 4 in Lesby, 1 in Chesapeake Beach, and 1 in St. Leonard. So the word is sort of spreading because this is a county-wide program, so I think people are starting to hear about the program and apply, so it's exciting, it's reaching all around the county, and I think we're doing a lot of good by helping a lot of people and lowering their energy bills, being sustainable, all those good things, saving the planet, and our carbon footprint. And so that's really the highlights that I have. Other
Thank
than
you.
a couple pending grants that we're waiting to hear any day from the state, and I'm crossing my fingers and my toes, and a couple we have that we're working on, all in the review.
One of the grants that Veronica's working on, and Joanne and Veronica have been very instrumental in all of this, but is the governor's grant. And we are getting support from our reps up there. So we do have Senator Miller's support, we do have Delegate Fisher's support. And I'm not sure, I don't know who the third person would be truthfully, but there was another one that we asked for support from somebody. And they said, sure. But it is we didn't get it last year, but we're going to keep applying for it, but we are working hard. Grants are very key to our town's survival, so these guys work very hard with documentation to get these grants, so thank you so much. All right. I do want to go back with one thing real quick. Rick mentioned it as he was dwindling down. As I mentioned about the bullying process or events that we're going to be doing in our town to prevent it and to educate people, a second group has been started with council support, and it will be a work session coming up, and that is our parking study. One of the things that we want to do, we know we're a small town that everybody in America wants to come to, which is wonderful, but we are busting at the seams, and what I don't want to do is react, I want to respond, and that's why I'm standing up a group to get together, to look at it, to come up with the best method, best ideas, and don't react, because we are going into the winter season, and though we're a year-round town, things will slow down around here. They will slow down. But what we're going to do is we want to put the group together. The group is going to be moving forward. But stay tuned to a work session where all input is needed. There is no one right answer. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. We're going to come together as a town to come up with a solution. Stay tuned when we open that up for a work session.
Will that come out in email?
Yes, it would be email blast. It would be just like everything else. Text message, email, social media, signs. Carrier pigeon.
Measuring streets and parking spaces.
Yeah. We've been doing that in the background, getting the hard numbers down.
It's all for the study.
Yeah. There's been a lot of work been done measuring, so. All right, Lisa, what do you have to pass on to council and to the residents?
This is a big weekend for me. It's our first annual fall birding weekend. I wish that Gwen would be here, but I know she. You might have seen some of the signs around. This Saturday night, we're having an owl crowd. And you say owls in North Beach? Yes. The two owls that, in fact, I heard one as I walked out of my house to come to the meeting tonight, is the great horned owl. I live right behind Burn Oaks in the wetlands. And so great horned owls are very common here. They nest throughout the wintertime, right in the wetlands by Wetlands Overlook Park. Our other owl that is very common is the barred owl, B-A-R-R-E-D, barred owl. It's a big round head and dark eyes, and it comes out at sunset. So it's more likely that you might see one of these sitting about than the great horned owl that comes out late at night. So those are two owls that live around here, and you might see them on the owl prowl at 7 o'clock, or hear them. And then on Sunday, we're having the big sit, where people are going to be coming out and tailgating in Wetlands Overlook Park from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. I went out and bought snacks and things and prizes, so people will come out and we'll count how many birds that we see at the park, and then it's put into a roster from across the country. Birdwatchers Digest sponsors it. It's called the Big Sit, and a whole bunch got rained out last week, so we have a good chance of being a winner if we get some people to come out, because we just have to count what we see. And at 5 o'clock on Sunday, we'll have a tally rally, which is a dinner that is sponsored at Hope and Vine this year. So I hope people will come out to that. Other things, I've been going to the senior center and doing a lot of presentations with them. And I recently did a presentation for the library on the centennial trees, which are the 100-year-old trees that were around at the beginning of North Beach, 1900 to 2000. And One of the centennial trees did have to come down, so we will be looking for a new centennial tree for Earth Day, April 22nd, 2020. We'll be rededicating those centennial trees. So if you know one that's 100 years old in town, I'm sure Grace and Mary can always help us with that. I would appreciate that. And I got some new binoculars, a new spotting scope, which are my equipment I need as a naturalist, so come on out on Sunday, even if you just come for a little bit, to Wetlands Overlook Park.
You know, Lisa came on board at the beginning of the year, and the goal was for ecotourism. We have 4 parks. We have such a wide variety of nature out there that we really want to get the residents and visitors, our guests involved in really enjoying our town as a whole. Not just the beach, the parks. I look forward to Saturday night taking my son over to that. So if you can make it, try to make it. It's going to be a good time. Thank you. I also forgot to mention that I want to recognize Mr. Larry Jaworski, a council member from Chesapeake Beach, to our meeting. Thank you, Larry, for coming. All right, let's move right into public comment. The town of North Beach welcomes public comment. Please state your name and address and limit your comments to 3 minutes. And we'll, public comment, yes.
Again, Peter Davis, I haven't changed my name. I think we have a tree out back that's about 100 years old. The house will be 100 years old on January 1. The next thing is, I've already thanked Joanne, but Lynn wanted me to extend their appreciation for the flowers and present to her on the passing of her mother today before the 96th birthday. And the last thing is, I want to commend the planning commission on the draft, if it hasn't already been voted on, of the resolution 1709 dealing with Tavernas. I thought they were going to vote on it tonight, but apparently not. But I have a question on paragraph 1, or not a question, but an issue. It says all outdoor venues must be an accessory use to a primary use brick and mortar establishment. And does that mean something like Mexico with their outdoor dining?
It does, but I can tell you that that was presented back to the planning commission to review, to make any recommendation changes, and then present that to the council. So there's no voting on it yet. They just got it back. That was presented 18 months, 2 years ago, probably the first time it was addressed. Because it didn't get taken care of, I didn't feel comfortable bringing that as written to this new council. So what we asked was the planning commission to reevaluate it, look at it, and now see, is there any changes we got to make to that?
They did that last month.
Right, but they have not presented it to us yet.
Well, then he's not brought it back to the planning commission.
Well,
It's going to come back to the planning commission.
The point is,
Yes.
the wheel has a nice facility out back. And it,
The wheel, Mexico, absolutely. They're
different.
Yep.
And it looks like Mexico ties in with the wording of this resolution, the draft anyways.
The primary is the brick and mortar, the secondary is the outdoor venue.
Right.
It's not the other way around.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you, Peter. Always love it.
And it's not just taverns, that's all outdoor uses, period.
This one?
It's all outdoor uses, not just taverns. Because everything that is outdoors has the potential of disturbing residential areas that are adjacent.
Yep.
So
So that's why I wanted to go back. So we're really going to make sure we're very comfortable when it comes back in front of the group. Any other public comment? All right, let's go to, move out of public comment to ordinance resolutions. Obviously, tonight was an introduction only. Next week, we will be placing on the November 14th, excuse me, next month, Town Council meeting for voting for ordinance 19-3. And let's
We need to actually introduce.
yeah, we do. I apologize. You're right. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Vicki.
I move to introduce ordinance 19-03, development rights and responsibilities.
I'll second that.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Council report, we'll start with Mickey since he helped me out there.
Thank you all for coming out. Chris and Mary went over her event, and then the weekend after her event, 26th, right? We have Hound of the Town, which is the dog costume contest on the pavilion by the boardwalk. And then following that, we have the Boom Bash, which is the kids costume contest. So it's, I think it's dogs at 12 and kids at 2 or 3. And then Halloween, which will be fun, we're not having at my house. And I'll see everybody else next month.
Thank you.
Good evening. Great to see everybody. This is, I think, the biggest crowd since I've been sitting on a seat that's in here, so that's wonderful. I had fun this month studying the parking study. So, what comes of that?
Something good, I promise you.
Something good, I promise you, for sure. Thank you.
Jane?
Oh, my goodness, I'm sorry. Want to sit here?
And please keep Councilmember Chiada's parent, or her dad and her family in your prayers.
Thanks all for coming, and Lisa, I wanted to mention that Senior Center is always happy to see you there. They love hearing about what we're doing here, and bringing on board has been a big help for all of us. So
They're very fun, I really enjoy it.
yeah. Even though we're old.
That's true.
So, thank you.
Paul?
So thank you for everyone coming out. As a quick reminder, October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And since I'm a cybersecurity practitioner, it's always on my mind, of course, but make sure you back up your data at home. Back it up, and back it up often. There's a lot of ransomware and stuff going around right now. It's getting worse and worse and worse every day. So don't lose all your family pictures and all that kind of stuff. Make sure you back up your data. So that's my public service announcement.
Craig?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming out.
That's it? All right, well, obviously, oh, yes, Grace Mary.
Like I
The meeting wasn't over.
I forgot to announce that Tommy Crockett has donated his trains to the Bayside History Museum. So starting this Saturday, we're going to have the Halloween trains ready if people want to come by and enjoy.
If you haven't seen the trains, you gotta go. Thank you so much. That's great information. So thank you for coming. I'd love to see the chairs fill up out there. I have a couple things that I want to announce. We have our MML Fall Conference coming up. I leave on Sunday till Tuesday. I believe some other council members are going. And I'm on the board of directors for the MML also, but what it really provides us is an outlet for us to meet the other 157 mayors or 56 mayors out there. Segue into that, myself and Donnie Bowen had the pleasure of going to Berlin on Friday to meet with them. And yes, it was a nice little drive. It was round trip. Wish I could have stayed. But what we were able to do was tap into Berlin, who has already addressed a lot of their stormwater flooding, and they gave us a lot of great information I'm going to pass out to our flood committee. Not only that, just talking to their public works and their mayor that's been there for 11 years and how they're addressing the issues in their town. They're very similar to ours if you haven't been there. They're right on the water, they're almost in the Ocean City. But what the MML has done for us, for me, was it gave me the ability to call Mayor Williams and say, hey, I'd like to come sit with you for a couple hours. And he was open arms. So it was a wonderful time. Learned a lot, passed it on. He's going to pass it on to the flood committee. We've been in, myself and staff have been in a lot of conversation recently with Calvert County, Anne Arundel County, and Chesapeake Beach about the wastewater treatment plant. You're going to see some stuff coming up, a lot of information coming out to the public. But as a town, we're working hard to continue to make sure we do the best stewards of your town and your investment into the town. So we've been working hard with a lot of meetings yesterday, and luckily all the partners are open and we're having some good results. So we'll be passing that on. Let me see what else. Berlin, met with Calvert County, partnered with Calvert. And the last thing is, if a lot of you know that I walk the town a lot. I'm the walking mayor, and I'm everywhere. And I initiated a thing called the Mayor's Challenge. And that is to the residents, to guests of our town, to get out, get off the couch, get away from the TV, and get out and do some walking. I have some handouts downstairs. There might be some on the back there. If not, they'll be all over town. It's just a way that the community continue to come together. You know, we're a small town. No matter what the census says next year, we're still a small town no matter what the numbers are. we need to continue to bring our town together as friends and family and neighbors to help neighbors. And just one way I want to add more value to the town. My goal is for us to become a heal city, which is healthy eating, active living, to have stations throughout the town. So stay tuned. My cell phone is always open to anybody in this room. A lot of you know that. If you've called me, come by my house, come by town hall, whatever you got to do. If you have any recommendations, you want to volunteer at the Boo Bash, you want to volunteer, get into the town, please hit us up. Call town hall. We're looking for everybody. We definitely want more volunteers. So other than that, can I have a motion to adjourn? Second? Second. Any discussion? So moved.